Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Spartan Wolf here, and welcome back, I guess, to the channel. It's been a while since I've posted anything, and today is a very special day. My first PC recorded video. As you can tell by the title of the video, this video is to help those who are starting off in Monster Hunter Wilds to get to the high ranks, as well as prepare for any future DLC content. This video will be categorized into two. So Category 1, Category 2. Category 1 will be me focusing primarily we do beginning to going in to high-end game. And then Category 2 will be what you do once you're in the end game things. Once you have got access to all of the in-game abilities, what you do to prepare for any future content that may come out from the devs of this game. So let's get started. First thing will be going through things you should not do, things you should do. Now, I've been going through this mobile ways, different types of viewings, I even did some research of my own when I first started playing the game. And most people make the same mistake is they make builds in low rank. Well, low rank and
What are
early
we making
high.
today?
Let me just inform you that trying to make builds with armor like in this category or early on category high is not the most advised thing I would recommend, especially since some of the later armors in the category past 6 or 7, the 7s and some of the 8s do have more higher stats. There are some in 5 and in 6 that are good, but you want to have access to all the armors before you even bother with your build, especially when it comes to weapons as well. You'd want to wait until you have access to the highest category of
What are we
weapon, which
making
is
today?
rarity 8 weaponry. So, how how do you go for
You know
that?
where to find me.
Well, for starters, it's all about the weapons you choose at the beginning. In this game, you have the ability that we have two weapons, a secondary and a primary weapon. I'm just going to give you this advice right now because it's something I thought about. You could run two weapons. The weapon that you primarily use on monsters and a backup weapon to help deal with those monsters that the primary weapon you're using can deal with. The problem with that is resource. You basically have to maintain having two weapons early on that can handle the monsters you'll be facing to get up to the high ranks and in-game content. Not really the best, especially if you want to achieve it at a fast pace. My personal opinion, focus on the game with one weapon and then have a primary and secondary. If you want to go for the game with primary secondary, just note that you will have to waste a little bit more resources when progressing through armor and weapon stages, but it is your decision. Now, what weapons would I recommend? If you want to run it the way I recommend, which is just one weapon, the weapons I would solidly recommend as follow. I'd recommend either starting with a great sword, long sword, and heavy gumbo. Reason why those three in particular is those three do the highest shielding of damage at very consistent rates. You could use a bow if you're feeling optimistic, but you will only be doing a bit in comparison to what a heavy gumbo build to achieve, or bow gun. Now, weapons I would recommend not using for primary use only. One, as in no other weapons. Do not bother with anything like the sword and shield, the dual blade, and especially the insect glaive. Reason why is the insect glaive has a couple of monsters where it struggles to take on. There's a, it is very good against the bulky, easier to hit monsters, but the more agile and fast-paced monsters, you will struggle to keep consistent damage on with the weapon, because they'll be constantly moving around, constantly doing attacks that will hit you even if you're in the air. So how it would be a constant of how to deal with them. My best advice would be to avoid using it and stick with using great sword, long sword, and heavy gunbow until you can unlock a higher rank insect glaive like rarity 7 or above. Possibly rarity 6 can be good, but I'd recommend 7 or above when it comes to before using this for the most optimal damage. Again, it is your choice. You can, however, run an insect glaive and one of the following free weapons that I recommended as a backup. So you can take on, if you're an insect glaive user, you can take on the ones you know you can easily take on and swap to your secondary weapon to take on those monsters where you need a oomph of damage and be able to hit them consistently even if they're moving. So yeah, weapons like the insect glaive, sword and shield, dual blades, you can. There is other weapons you may be able to use, like the gun lance, switch axe, even the charge blade. But those weapons, again, do have mid-tier damage quite early on and get progressively better based on armor stats as well as, well, higher rarities. Now, the armor. Now, if this is the main thing you would have to listen to, do not waste your time progressing through every single monster's armor. Only make armor upgrading when you see a large upgrade opportunity. An example, which I will actually show, gold armor. Say you start off and you are someone that will say chainmail or leather. As you can see, you start off with defense of 2 right off the bat. You can level it up, but I would not advise leveling up and wasting those level up resources because even though you can use very little to, as you can see, level up your armor, you might build, they'll be far more useful later on when you're focusing on your main build armor. So what you should do is save and just monitor. As you can see, it goes up where you get an additional 4 defense in the rarity 1. If you wait just a little bit longer, when you hit rarity 2, you run into this guy. You run into him very early on, and this gives you a straight up stiff defense of 10. So you go from having 2 defense on each piece to 10 defense on each piece. Very decent. And then you can do the same when you upgrade to, say, for example, this guy's armor. As you can see by that, it goes from 12 to 30, putting you into the 100 defense category, and so forth, progressively doing major jumps. That one was a mistake. Didn't mean to do this one because I thought that those more rarities past this one, but no. This is a mistake I made, and you should be careful not to make it. Always wait a little bit longer before upgrading, because you might run into a person like this, which I could have taken on in the previous armor before this one. But I said upgrade when I could have just straight upgrade from 30 to 40, an additional 10 defense, which puts me to 150s. When you get to the high rank, it's still the same your fault, but again, you can make the same mistake as I did in early on. For example, I upgraded to this armor when I already had, it's just down here, this armor. I didn't need to upgrade, I did it because I thought there'd be more rarities or more bosses before I got to the boss I was looking for. I was wrong. Always wait a little bit longer before you go for something like this. Now, besides making sure you upgrade only to major defense armor instead of focusing on upgrading every single time, and making sure you pick the right weapon or right combo weapons to use, it is the case of materials. Should you farm for materials early on? Yes. Reason why is because you can farm for materials very easy early on, like certain minerals and capture stuff and so forth. However, it does slow you down. But what I mean by farm for resources is as you reach certain monster, well, hunter ranks, there'll be gaps when you are able to go on to the next stage of the quest to reach high end game high rank. You need to know what to farm in order to reach it faster, as well as get good materials for this guy. This guy will explain his reasoning for later. I want to show you him in particular. You want to focus on monsters early on that offer materials that from him the exchange would be higher, but also yield the most amount of experience. Ones I can recommend once you reach in the uh, mid-high tier stages is creatures like the Guardian, right there, 5-star. Main reason why is if I go to him, this can be used to exchange for a very useful XP resources. And if you save this as an investigation, you can do this and farm these and build up that resource. Once you have your armor, if you have an abundance of that resource, it'll help you in the late game. Now, we'll go on to category 2. What do you do once you're in end game? Obviously, you're farming for your end game armor, weapon, and getting your build up and running. What do you do? Well, for starters, I can give you some advice when it comes to some materials. If you're trying to get weapons that require the hunter certificates, if that's what they're called, can't remember their name. I'll go and show you. That way you understand what I'm talking about. This. This material, most of the better weapons end up requiring the 3. Some might require 2, some might require 1, but they're some of the strongest with the white sharpness on them, which is the best for piercing through monsters' armor, will require this one. What is the best for farming that? Well, I will show you. You want to keep your eye out for a certain investigation. I have it saved. It is this one. The reason why this one, you know this is a tempered boss. This is the easiest tempered boss out of all of them to fight. That offers that resource. Not only that, the materials offer a lot of yield as well in terms of XP that you're going to need for your armor. But also, this is a big also, a lot of people will assist you on this because it's the most common one that people like doing. The only other one that you can get the certificate in very good amounts, sometimes you might only get lucky and get 1, but most of the time with the tempered you can get between 1 up to 4 in one hunt. So tempered ones are the best, but it's basically fighting. I don't even want to talk about him, but won't get into it because I would not recommend fighting that monster for farming that material. So I won't even mention him. Just go for that one. It'll be the fastest, the easiest, and the most optimal. Now, once you have your armor and the weapon of your choice, as I've mentioned before, you need to level up. The best way to level up is either hoarding the XP material early on so you can use it on the armor. If you end up not having enough, this is where my advice earlier comes into play. This man will be your best friend. If you come up to him and you check, he will offer these very upgraded materials very, very easily. It requires you to hand over material. this is why I said you want to save up likes of these types of gems. Some of these gems can give you 800 per one. You want to find, once you find out which one gives you the 800s, they're the ones you want to farm. I know which one drop. 300, but I just don't have a boss that has it. So, but once you have that material, you see it, and once you know what it looks like, you can just save any hunt, like, well, investigation that guarantees that gem and farm it for the most material. But this literally offers the most. Besides some monsters which guarantee 100 per the part. But once you basically farm a bunch of those gems, come to him, get a load of the XP, max your armor, and boom. Your armor will be maxed out, and then you can focus on gathering the white orbs, if I remember if that's what they're properly called. Things you get from monsters like this. Mostly weapons and armor. Now, I would recommend getting one from each rarity category because you know it's a rarity 6. It'll only give you ones in the rarity 6 or have a chance to get one from higher. If you want ones, for example, rarities. Do I have any? I do. From rarities 4 or below, or even up to 5s, you have to get a different monster.
I'm happy to help anytime.
But always make sure when you do go for it, you always check your map. Check each area and you'll see which ones offer the most shield. Now, my best advice would go for ones that offer a minimum of 2 to 2. You might be able to go for ones that's like 2 to 3 or 4 to 2. If it goes 1 to 4, where it's like one weapon and 4 armor, or 1 armor and 4 weapons, it takes longer for you to gather. Say for example like this one. That one right there with the 2 monsters gives you 1, 2, 3, 4 for your armor, but it gives you 3 for the weapons. That's a pretty decent one, and it gives you materials also. Keep your eye out for stuff like that. Now help you get the stuff to help give you equipment skills higher and higher. And then there is one other thing. There will be a quest with 2 individuals, again over to my map, in this area here. You get them once you have to hunt down the cause of the frenzy virus. You'll meet a certain character. Don't want to spoil anyone's. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone's not played the game yet. But basically, once that person arrives, he will bring 2 individuals, and they'll have side quests. Now, in those side quests, they will give you as a reward these 2 items. As you can see, this one increases your defense. This one increases your attack. As long as you have them in this bar. So as long as you're always carrying these 2 things in your bar, you have these increased ability stats. Which means your armor and weapons will be higher. For example, without that, I would only have a max armor defense of 422. With that, I have 434. Maybe 12 extra, but that extra 12 helps out a lot. I also get an increase in my damage, making it so weapon is more close to 1100. Again, useful. Even if it's only a little bit of an increase, those little bits do add up. And the quests are very easy, and if you don't feel like doing them by yourself, there's always an SOS flare where somebody's probably doing it, or you can call in for people and they will help you. They're not that difficult of quests, and they will help you, especially when it comes to killing, or hunting, or capturing. You know, as well as killing and hunting, same thing. Hunting or capturing a certain monster. Yeah, those are literally the 2 things I'd recommend you doing. As long as you follow them, you'll be able to get to the higher rank stage very quickly. As you can see, ever since I reached this, I've been able to relax more and casually chill. But it took me roughly 3 days at most, and that was with making mistakes to get to the hunter rank 50s, as well as getting my armor weapon. But if you follow it and don't make the same mistakes I did, you'll probably get it between 1 to 2 days if lucky, to maybe going into three. Maybe if you make like two mistakes. If you think carefully and make a plan, at max 2 if you're lucky, 1. And if you think like, oh, that can't be possible, there are people that are already in hunter rank 200 plus right now. I don't know how, but yeah. So that's my advice and tips that I can offer. If you have watched the video and it helps you out, feel free to leave a comment. If you want people other advice that may also help, feel free to leave in the comments. I'll be making future videos somewhat like this, especially on other games that may come out if they require a little bit of guidance to help you get past the early into the late. Yeah. Anyways, again, thanks for watching the video. If you like what content I produce, feel free to like and subscribe. You don't have to, you're your own individual. But yeah. And also, if you have, again, any ideas on future videos or even suggestions on a video, feel free to leave it in the comments. And I will obviously look at the most as I can. I won't be able to look at everyone's comments, but I will look through as many as I can. Now, as you can tell by the fact I did say it's my first PC video at the beginning, I'm going to start doing more videos on average 2 times a week, hopefully. Again, I'm going to be doing most of the editing by myself as well as recording, so I apologize in the future advance if it does take time for more videos to be consistent. Now, before the video fully ends, I want to give a shout out to 2 individuals. I won't mention by name, but when they watch the video, they'll know who I'm talking about. These 2 individuals helped me get to where I am to make this video, and without them, I wouldn't be here. So, if you want to give those 2 a nice sort of hello or a nice words, feel free to put in the comments, thank you, Violet or Star, or maybe both. Because that was the nicknames I'm going to be giving them, so if you ever hear me mentioning the nickname, Violet or Star, I'm talking about one of the 2 individuals who helped me out. Anyway, this is your boy Spartan Wolf, signing off. I hope my fellow Spartans have a good night or day, and can't wait to see you in the field. Peace out.